You know that exact moment when you open your banking app and see $847 sitting there? Instead of feeling proud of what you saved, you just feel defeated. It feels like you are throwing pennies into the Grand Canyon, hoping it will eventually fill up. You've been cutting back on coffee and skipping dinners out for months, living like a financial monk. And for what? A number that could not even cover a decent emergency, let alone make you feel wealthy. Meanwhile, your friends with zero savings are buying new cars and seem genuinely happier than you are. You start thinking, what is the point of all this sacrifice? Why torture yourself for a pile of cash that feels as powerless as a wet napkin in a hurricane? Welcome to the reality of 2026. Smart people are making terrible financial decisions because they are exhausted by a world that keeps getting more expensive. If you have been trying to save money, but feel like you are just wasting your time, you are not alone. If you feel like your savings account is where money goes to die slowly, listen closely. Here is the brutal truth that most financial gurus refuse to admit to you. Saving money before you hit the $10,000 mark does not feel like building wealth. It feels like playing defense against a world that is actively trying to rob you. There is a psychological reason why this happens, and it explains most people give up long before they see results. Let me paint you the real picture of what early-stage saving actually looks like in today's economy. You save $300, and you feel good. Then your car needs new tires, and it is gone. You build it back up to $500. Then your laptop dies, and you are back to zero. You scrape together $800 again, but then an insurance premium goes up, or your phone screen shatters. This is not building wealth. This is playing financial whack-a-mole. Every time you think you are winning, life smacks you back down to the starting line. You are not investing in your future yet. You are simply paying the ongoing subscription fee for existing as an adult human being. And your brain knows this. That is why it does not feel good. When you have $800 saved, you are not wealthy. You are just temporarily not broke. There is a massive psychological difference between those two states. Your subconscious mind is way too smart to be fooled by small numbers with big dreams attached to them. Your brain knows that $400 is not going to change your life. It knows that you are still one bad Tuesday away from being financially screwed. So instead of feeling accomplished, you feel like you are playing pretend. But here is where the dynamic flips. The magic number where saving stops feeling pointless and starts feeling powerful is exactly $10,000. This threshold turns you into a different person. Let me explain the difference between defensive versus offensive money. When you have less than $10,000, every single dollar is playing defense. It is protecting you from disaster, not building toward opportunity. You are not thinking about growing wealth. You are thinking about survival. You ask yourself, will this be enough if I lose my job tomorrow? This defensive mindset is exhausting because it is rooted in fear and scarcity. Fear is a terrible motivator for long-term behavior change. It might get you to save for a few months, but it will not sustain you for years. But something magical happens when you hit $10,000. Suddenly, you are truly operating. $10,000 is enough to handle most emergencies without wiping you out completely. It is enough to take a calculated risk or invest in a real opportunity. For the first time, your money starts being offensive. When you have $10,000, you start asking different questions. Instead of asking, how do I avoid disaster? You start asking, how do I grow this? Instead of being paralyzed by fear, you become energized by possibility. The difference between having $1,000 and $5,000 feels negligible to your brain. Both amounts leave you fundamentally vulnerable. But the difference between having $5,000 and $10,000 feels enormous. That extra $5,000 represents crossing from the vulnerability zone into the stability zone. This is why so many people give up before they see real results. They save for 6 months, get to $3,000, and do not feel any different. They quit right before the psychological breakthrough happens. It is like someone working out for 2 months who quits because they do not see muscles yet. They quit right before their body would have shown results. The first $10,000 is the hardest money you will be auza save. It requires the most discipline because you get the least immediate gratification. Every dollar feels like a struggle because you do not feel different with $4,000 versus $2,000. But once you cross that $10,000 threshold, saving becomes exponentially easier. Not just because of interest, but because your entire psychology changes. You go from feeling like a victim to feeling like someone who controls their destiny. This shift to 2026 creates a positive feedback loop. When you feel in control, you make better decisions. Better decisions lead to more money saved faster. But before you reach $10,000, you are stuck in the opposite loop. You feel powerless. So you make impulsive decisions that lead to less money. It is a vicious cycle that traps most people in permanent financial mediocrity. Recent data shows the typical household approaching retirement has around $200,000 saved. That might sound like a lot, but it only produces about $600 of monthly income. Most people reach that age feeling behind because they never broke out of the defensive cycle earlier. The $10,000 threshold represents moving from a scarcity identity to an abundance identity. It is not just about the money. It is about who you believe yourself to be. When you have $800, you see yourself as someone who is trying to save money. When you have $10,000, you see yourself as someone who is good with money. Think about it like learning to drive. In the beginning, every lane change requires intense concentration. You are just trying not to crash. But once you have been driving for a few years, you do not think about individual actions anymore. You just drive. The identity has changed from a learner to a driver. The same shift happens with money. Before $10,000, you are trying to be good with money. After $10,000, you simply are good with money. Most financial advice tells you to start small and celebrate tiny wins. They say save $50 a month. But at that rate, it takes 16 years to reach $10,000. 16 years of feeling like your savings do not matter. Most people's willpower does not last 16 months, let alone 16 years. This is why aggressive saving beats gradual saving every single time. If you save $1,000 a month, you hit that breakthrough in 10 months instead of 16 years. Once you hit it, maintaining momentum becomes natural instead of forced. You might say, who has an extra $1,000 in 2026? The problem is, most people try to save what is left over after they have lived their normal life. This is wishful thinking, not a strategy. The people who break through the $10,000 barrier flip this equation. They decide how much they are going to save first, then figure out chun to live on what is left. They make saving the priority and lifestyle the variable. This means making extreme choices in the short term. Maybe it is a side hustle that eats up every weekend. Maybe it is selling a car with a high payment, or eating rice and beans for a few months. These are not permanent lifestyle changes. They are temporary sacrifices for a specific goal. The difference between those who break through and those who stay stuck is intensity. Most people treat saving like a hobby they will get to when life calms down. But life never calms down. People who break through treat saving like their financial life depends on it. Because it does. Every month you spend below $10,000 is another month of being one disaster away from catastrophe. There is also the momentum illusion. You feel like you are making progress until the refrigerator dies and costs $800. When you have small numbers, every setback feels like losing months of your life. But when you have $15,000, an $800 repair barely registers emotionally. The faster you can get through the vulnerable zone, the sooner you can build real momentum. The first $10,000 is a sprint across a battlefield. You want to get through it as quickly as possible. Once you are past it, then you can slow down and enjoy the marathon. Those early dollars are not your savings. They are your escape fund. You are buying your way out of financial vulnerability. Your brain is constantly calculating whether your savings could change your life. When you have $3,000, the answer is no. So your brain starts questioning why you are sacrificing fun for a number in an app. This is the psychological torture of early-stage saving. You are stuck in financial purgatory, but when you push through to $10,000, the calculation changes. $10,000 can meaningfully change your cuộc đời. You could quit a job you hate or move to a different city. The number in your account represents real options. Your brain finally sees the point, and delayed gratification starts feeling real. This is why people who hit $10,000 almost never go back to living paycheck to paycheck. They have crossed the threshold where saving money starts feeling logical instead of painful. At $10,000, you stop being afraid of your own money. It becomes a tool instead of a burden. You finally understand why wealthy người seem so calm. It is because they crossed the line where they started controlling the money instead of the money controlling them. If you are sitting there with $2,000, you are not crazy for feeling like it is pointless. You are just not there yet. Those dollars are building the foundation. Every dollar before $10,000 is buying you permission to become a new version of yourself. The first $10,000 is about proving you can do hard things. It is about crossing from defense to offense. Once you make that crossing, everything changes. Your bank account, your confidence, and what you believe you are capable of. That $10,000 is the down payment on a completely different financial life. If you are ready to stop playing defense, the journey starts with one intense decision. Keep going. The breakthrough is closer than you need.